We are paid, that's all. We are God.
Hey guys! Here is part 3 of What If Naruto Was the Reincarnation of Link, Hero of Twilight. Centuries ago, Link saved the world from Ganondorf. But now, Link's reincarnation will do the same task. Watch as he now struggles to become a hero guided by the Triforce. And of course, he has Midna by his side to help him. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe and check the author in the description. Let's start. Chapter 10. So, Orochimaru-sama, this Tsunade, she's a medical kunoichi? Kabuto questioningly asked his master. Both were traveling in disguise, to the destination where they had last heard of the blonde woman. The destination was a town, which was also the site of what remained of a large impressive castle in slight ruins. Of course, if it was in larger ruins, the tag natural disaster would fit the bill. The snake user smiled deviously. Yes Kabuto, she's the most experienced medical nin and she is the only that can heal my arms after what the wretched old fool did, Orochimaru said with a venomous tone. He still has not forgotten how he had nearly lost his life to the death god, and paid his escape with the loss of his arms. I see, Kabuto said as he readjusts his glasses. So, why are we doing this again? Because Naruto-kun had basically saved half the village from that monster, Hinata replied to Kiba, blushing a bit. Teams 8, 9, and 10 were all doing some repairs to Naruto's apartment, after it was shown that it was not up to standards. Plus, it was now becoming a 2-story apartment. Oh yeah, that masked freak that attacked Naruto 2 months ago. Hinata is right, Kurenai spoke up to Kiba. While we have been busy fighting off the invading shinobi, Naruto had basically fought against the Gaara kid who that masked man basically transformed into a demonic monster by himself with no help. He is one of the heroes of the village. Imagine if Naruto had not been able to fight that monster head-on, Asuma says, we'd all be in some pretty deep shit right now. But what about that girl from Oto? Sakura asks the team senseis. Well, that is up to the Hokage to decide, which is why Naruto isn't here. I heard from father that Jiraiya-sama left the village to look for the slug Sannin, Lady Tsunade, Shikamaru said, lazily hammering some plywood down with Choji's help. Only father knew that Jiraiya was planning on taking Naruto out of the village to travel with him, and Naruto must have taken that troublesome girl with him. As far as anyone knows, the Oto girl is a nuke nin because she abandoned her own village. Naruto may not know it, but he manages to make friends in just about anybody, Kurenai said with a spoken smile, although I don't particularly agree that he kept her a secret from everyone else. He must have his reasons though. Hinata blushed, agreeing with the logic. 10-10 as well. Naruto-kun will be surprised to see his home fixed up and brand new, 10-10 giggled. Niji, who was recovering, had taken Naruto's words to heart, and was trying to change for the better good. Which explains why he's here. Lee would have been there, but since he's confined to the hospital. Futon, Reizengyu, spiraling tornado. Naruto with the master sword, began channeling chakra around, and only managed to get a whirlwind to form before it dispersed, leaving him to fall onto his rear. Damn it, he swore, as he got back up. Kin was watching before she ran up to him. You okay? Yeah Kin-chan, I just don't know what I'm doing wrong. Futon jutsus are the hardest to use and even the easiest can be quite complicated to use. Have you ever heard of a chakra slip? A what? A special paper slip which when you channel a portion of chakra into it, it can show you what type of elemental affinity you may possess. Mine was water, but before you had saved me from a dark fate, I had mostly focused on brute actions and my bells. Now, I just wish to focus on using a completely different style all my own. So, what would this paper show you what elements you can use? Naruto asks the raven-haired beauty. Wind splits, water wets, electricity crinkles, fire burns, and earth crumbles. As you already know, we have 5 main elements: Ho, fire, Mizu, water, Rai, lightning, Tsuchi, earth, and Kaze, wind. Not many ninjas have elemental affinity, and even if they do, it's just one type. It's rare for a ninja to have 2, or even possibly 3. Though it's not possible for a ninja to know all 4 elemental type jutsus and have no affinity. Well, when we get back to Konoha, I'll ask Kakashi-sensei about these chakra slips. Kin nodded, looking a bit down all of a sudden. Yeah, about that, do you think I'll even be allowed? I mean, I was once the enemy to your village. Naruto pulled Kin into a comforting hug. I know they will, you didn't participate in the invasion, you fought for us, for me, if anyone tries to harm you I'll protect you, okay? Kin closed her eyes and rested her head against his chest, as Naruto gently pulls her towards the ground under the tree she stayed by. Why are you being so nice to her, Naruto? Midna asks the boy. Because she has gone through a rough life just like I had. I can understand her type of pain, Midna. Before I had known about the Kyuubi I was an attention seeker, always causing trouble because all I ever wanted was someone to acknowledge me. I had very few friends, we both have no family, we're both orphans. Midna stayed quiet. Naruto-kun. Naruto looked down, and Kin leaned up and gently kissed him. Thank you, for being there for me when no one else would. Naruto was surprised by the small kiss, as evident by the blush that had formed, but he nodded and she rested against his chest again, eyes closed. Midna didn't like that this girl was the first to make the initial move into the battlefield called Naruto's heart. Wait, why was she getting jealous over a small innocent kiss? It's not like she loves Naruto, right? Back in Konoha and in Suna, three girls suddenly felt as if something important had occurred. The blonde hero in green came to mind. Kin and Naruto were surprised at first. The toad landed on top of Kin, who had in her surprised state knocked her elbow into Naruto's face. The toad was really Gamakichi, who told them that Jiraiya had found Tsunade at a local bar. They were following Gamakichi, who for some reason, was accompanied by Gamatatsu. It looked odd to see a kunoichi, and a boy wearing a green tunic with a shield and sword like some sort of age-old knight of some sort, following two different colored toads. Around 10 minutes, and a short stop when Naruto saw something interesting at a local shop, the two toads stopped by a small pub. The two toads bid their goodbyes to Naruto and the pretty girl before poofing away in clouds of smoke. Inside the pub were Jiraiya and the woman named Tsunade. And damn, did she have big assets. She didn't even look like Jiraiya's age, nah, she looked like she's in her mid-20s. Sitting next to the woman was a black-haired lady who appeared to be in her 20s, and on the ground by her feet was a pig? That's the old hag you were searching for? Naruto asks Jiraiya. Naruto got a flick on the forehead, causing him to yelp in pain. The old hag scowled at him. And what are you? You look more like some sort of knight than a shinobi. I am a ninja. I just wear this because it's better than my old orange jumpsuit. That, and I told you to buy it when we saw the tunic 2 months ago, Midna reminds Naruto. Tsunade then noticed the Hitachi plate in the boy's green hat, which the plate matches the hat's green color. Faye, whatever. And no means no, Jiraiya, I will not become Hokage. It is a worthless title. What? Naruto said in a cold whisper. After all, only fools would dare take the title. In the end they will just die. Her sake bottle was sliced, spilling the liquid all over. Naruto had drawn the master sword, and was holding it. Kin backed away from Naruto, because she was feeling the ki that was starting to come off from the blonde hero. How dare you say those words? It's true you brat, Tsunade said, annoyed that she wasted 100 ryo on an expensive drink which was now waste on the counter and the floor. That's why the old man is dead. Wrong thing to say. Before Naruto could kill her, someone grabbed him, preventing the sword from piercing her chest. It was Midna, who materialized herself in physical form. Stop it right now. She yelled, not caring that she had just attracted the attention of the ninja, and the few drinkers of the pub, bartender included. No! This bitch dared to insult Sarutobi's memory, the man I call my grandfather. Tears were falling from his eyes. When Sarutobi died, he was hurt the most. He saw him as a grandfather. The way the blonde Sannin was talking, disrespecting Sarutobi's memory of his sacrifice to stop Orochimaru, it was too much for him to take. Still. No reason to give in to your anger and just freaking kill her. Midna yelled, yanking Naruto back with her hair, and now both Twilight Princess and Hero were glaring at one another. If I haven't had stopped you, that sword really would have pierced her chest and killed her. Besides, weren't you and the pervert over there on a mission to bring her back to Konoha? No one understood what she said, as in her anger she had slipped to her native tongue. Not if the motherfucker disrespects the man I love so dearly as family, he told her coldly. She slaps him across the face. Snap out of it. If you want to be pig-headed, go right ahead. Naruto calmed himself down. However, ignoring the sting from the slap, he turned to face the woman. Outside, you team. I'll teach you to never disrespect the dead. Fine, she said, getting up, much to the black-haired woman's protests. I just need one finger to beat you anyway. Jiraiya groaned. This was going to end badly. But then he turned to look at the strange floating imp with sunset eye, fiery hair tied as a ponytail, and a strange metal helmet that actually flew, out the open door. Jiraiya, Kin, and Shizen followed out as well. The bartender muttered under his breath, and went to clean up the mess. Outside, Tsunade stood across from Naruto, who decided to not use his main weapons. He grabs the scroll from his left hip, and in a plume of smoke, hefted up the Kubikiri Hocho. Wait, isn't that? Yes, Shizen, Jiraiya answers. From all I know is that Naruto had become a Kiri swordsman taking Momochi Zabuza's place, which explains him wielding the Kubikiri Hocho. Naruto. Shizen whispered, finding the name familiar. Shugekiha. He slams the blade, launching the chakra shockwave. Tsunade countered with stomping her foot, causing a quake and tripping everyone in the vicinity, plus all of the drinks and anything made of glass or ceramics shattered to the floor in the bar. Tsunade crossed the distance and with her finger, knocked Naruto across the forehead, sending him flying and crashing into a nearby vendor cart. The sword was left discarded, which Tsunade kicked to the side. Naruto's nin pod had gotten knocked of his person, which Midna had caught with her hair. Naruto got up, as Tsunade stood there, arms crossed. See? It's a fool's dream, being Hokage means nothing. I'll show you fool, you old hag, Naruto coughed out. Before I would wish to be Hokage, but after everything that has happened to me, my new dream is to protect the people I cherish and be a hero to those who have no heroes to look up to, and to help Midna. Jiraiya, Kin, and Shizen looked at Midna, which the floating imp-like creature smiled warmly. I'll beat your old ass down. Naruto yelled as he charges Tsunade, right hand poised as chakra flickers, and forms a sphere. However incomplete it was, Tsunade recognized that technique. Rasengan, spiral sphere. At that moment, she looked at the boy's face, and saw someone else in his place. Minato, take this. He yelled, and leapt into the air. However Tsunade caught him, and sent him flying with an arm drag which also dispersed the jutsu. He crashed through a fence, and Midna cried out, flying towards him. Jiraiya! Did you teach him that technique? She yelled. Yes, because he is my apprentice. Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto? The Jinchuriki of the fox? Minato's son. Midna was helping Naruto up, as he groaned in pain. Naruto, are you okay? Damn it, if only potions still existed today, she cursed softly, having slipped into Twilight. Naruto seemed to understand her, as he had asked her what potions were. I'll tell you everything over drinks, just for old time's sake. Jiraiya questioned. Tsunade grunted. Fine, however, I would like to propose a bet. Besides, Naruto interests me. Jiraiya blinked. Shizen blinked. Taunton blinked. Kin just stood there looking confused. Naruto sat up, wincing while Midna was hovering over him, worried that he may have injured himself again, in a similar manner as the Sabaku no Shikaku incident. You, Gaki, let's make a bet. What kind of bet, old hag? I twitch. She however lets the comment slide. One jutsu, the Rasengan. Jiraiya had told me before you and your girlfriend here showed up about the mission the village council gave him. I'm not her boyfriend/girlfriend. They yelled. Then they blushed a bit. Whatever, anyway, if you can complete a functioning Rasengan, I'll come back and become the Godame Hokage of Konoha, plus I will give you my necklace. But Tsunade-sama. Shizen gasped. I know what I'm doing, Shizen. However Gaki, if I win, I take that fancy shield and both of your swords so I can pawn them for money. What? No deal. Midna yelled, the master sword is too important to be pawned off for petty cash. I accept. Naruto cuts her off. Midna now rounded on Naruto. What? Naruto. Are you insane? If you lose, the master sword would be gone forever. You need that sword to take out the bastard who imprisoned me centuries ago. Don't worry Midna-chan, I won't lose to Ba-chan here, he said, and she, Tsunade, gained another eye twitch. I just need 3 days. 3 days and I'll win that fancy necklace of hers. Then we have a deal, Tsunade says, I'll even be lenient on you. 7 days, kid. Naruto, idiot, look, you and Kin go back to the hotel and take Shizen with you. I'm going to go drink with my old friend. Kin waked over, and helped Naruto off the ground, and before the girl's eyes, Midna shifted into a dark mass and melted away, hiding now in Naruto's shadow. Who is she? Midna, the Twilight Princess. All I know is that I'm the reincarnation of a hero centuries ago who had faced off against an evil man. You remember Hyuga Hinata, right Kin? Kin nods. Of course I do, she's the one who displayed that unknown defense jutsu during the Chunin exams, from what I had heard of course. She's the reincarnation of a princess, while I am the reincarnation of a hero. Both of us when we were born in different fates were tied because of this mark on our left hands. Naruto pulled off his fingerless gloves and showed Kin and Shizen the Triforce mark that was on his hand. My ancestor, named Link, held the Triforce of Courage. Hinata's ancestor, Princess Zelda, holds the Triforce of Wisdom. As their descendants, I hold the power of courage, and Hinata holds the power of wisdom. However, there is the third power, which is the namesake, Triforce of Power. The person who held it last was an evil king named Ganondorf, but in this day and age, Midna and I are confused as to who would hold it, since Midna had witnessed Ganondorf's death. Naruto, if what that imp girl said about your sword you always carry, why would you risk it? Because he's stubborn, even if he did change for the better, he's still holding some of his old traits. Midna morphed from his shadow, and hovered in the air laying back as if she was relaxing in a beach chair. Naruto saved me from my imprisonment, and since I had caught a glimpse of his left hand, I knew that somehow, history will repeat itself. He's going to be a champion, just like Link. Link and I stopped Zant long ago, and today, somehow, we'll do the same to that man with the pumpkin-colored mask. Elsewhere, Tsunade and Jiraiya had found another bar, since the last one had to close shop for property damage they refused to pay. At another bar, which was a small stand much like the ramen shop Jiraiya once saw Naruto hang out, the two ordered their drinks before the bartender headed to the back. So, what's the deal? Naruto is not merged with his demon if that's what you want to know. No, from what Sarutobi-sensei told me before Orochimaru had killed him during the invasion, on the day of the team placements, an unknown man wearing a pumpkin-colored mask with a silver metal tongue appeared in the classroom quite suddenly, and then attacked Naruto. Jiraiya took a sip of his sake. Naruto was battered around like a kid would with a soccer ball, before in full view of many ANBU, Sarutobi, and the Jounin who were to pick up their future students, watched as the Kyuubi was extracted right out from Naruto in a painful manner, all inside a scroll, before tossing Naruto away like garbage. He was out for a week, but the seal ceased to exist, and the marks on the boy's cheeks also vanished when the fox was ripped from him. For all we know, that man still has the Kyuubi in his collection, and I imagine Akatsuki found out the hard way, after our encounter with Uchiha Itachi and Hoshigaki Kisame. Tsunade drained her drink and poured herself another cup. He looks like Minato at his age. Tell me about it. The Gaki used this henge jutsu to stun me, before he shrieked and gotten me assaulted by women in Kunoichi. Tsunade snorted. Perverted old man. I'm not just a pervert, but a super pervert. He exclaims, and gets blasted over the head. Tsunade drank her cup, and pours a third shot. That isn't all. The next time I encountered him, he ran off, and dodged one of my toad's tongues. He then led me on a wild chase throughout the rest of the afternoon on a stallion he stolen indirectly from the fire daimyo. Gamoruto was completely exhausted when Naruto stopped in front of his apartment once night came around. He not only had me chasing him, but a group of ANBU led by Nico, Madogai and his team when we rushed past them at the gates, and some Hyugas when he swept Hyuga Hinata off her feet and into his lap. While Jiraiya looked off to look at the time on the wall, Tsunade slipped something into his drink. It was enough to knock him out. Once he had drunk the cup, he soon thumps to the ground. She sighed, getting up, and left, remembering the words Orochimaru shared with her. However, there was this lingering doubt in her mind. Itachi ducked as a log head shaped of the former target they were sent to capture smashed into the wall. Kisame has been like this, and Itachi wondered why Kisame would still wish to go after the former Jinchuriki. Now, as he stands there watching, snacking on a carton of Pocky he pulled from his sleeve, Kisame was tearing through the field of training puppets, armed with cheap replicas of the Kubikiri Hocho, and their heads modeled after the non-whiskered blonde Uzumaki Naruto to come after Kisame in any way possible. No way in hell I will see that brat as a brother. I'll prove that he is nothing when I kill him and take the Kubikiri Hocho. He swung upward, slicing a puppet that leapt at him in a vertical line. Mendokus, Itachi thinks, before he snacks on 3 triple fudge-coated Pocky sticks, stuffed with strawberry filling. In his room, Toby had successfully completed his task, along with the assistance of Deidara, they had captured Sanbai. Of course, there was the time where at one point, Sanbai had been within a host, which was revealed to be a female with short blonde hair, pink eyes, clad in a green cloak with fishnet clothing for a shirt and black leather skirt. However, Sanbai was in the wild, so it's assumed it escaped the dead host. However, the demon was weak and couldn't control its powers, which allowed them to successfully capture it. Now, it rested within the statue. So far, the demons captured, sealed, and deaths of the Jinchuriki was Gobi, Rokubi, and now Sanbai. There would be a fourth, had Tobi given up the Kyubi as well. However, it would remain his until the rest have been found and captured. All there is left is Shikaku, Nibi, Yanbi, Shichibi, and Hachibi. The evil man then looked at the Komori dragon that he and his Tobi disguise brought back to the base as a pet. This pet was going to be unleashed upon Naruto, then the gates will unlock, bringing forth his evil power back into the world once again. Kotetsu and Izumo. They were guarding the gate, which had been repaired at last. They weren't alone though. They had two other Chunin by the name of Biggs and Wedge. Odd names, but these two young men actually came from the western continent. Of course, if they were guarding the gates, then they would be doing a stand-up job. Nope, instead the four were playing Ninja Shikumi, Texas Hold'em, poker. They never noticed that some foreign fellow had snuck into the village 2 hours ago, and just now left carrying a classical bandit sack filled with Ika Paradise books. Yeah, Naruto woke up the next morning. Yawning, he found himself sleeping on the couch, and Midna was snug on top of his chest, her helmet on the floor. He as discreetly as he could, created a Kage Bunshin, and then used the Kawarimi technique. Sneaky, yes, but as long as he got free, the clone was left to sleep with Midna. So, he headed to do his morning business, and then go into the kitchen, and nabbed some bars of candy from the hotel minibar. He then headed off to train on the second stage, like he did all last night, only to see Erosenin trying to crawl up the stairs. Naruto immediately rushed over. Hey, what happened? Poisoned, paralyzing agent, and knockout. Shit! He drops Jiraiya, ignoring his cry of pain, and shook Shizen awake. So, you're going to accept my deal? Tsunade walked up to Orochimaru, hands bathed in chakra. All of a sudden, before she could touch him, she leapt back as Kabuto was about to strike her with the kunai. Liar, you never wished to help Orochimaru-sama, Kabuto threatened. Arrogant prick, of course I was going to help him go to hell, that is. Well then, I guess we have to dispose of your corpse, Heim, Orochimaru says with a sick drawl of a hiss. Tsunade could hold herself off well, as she was one of the Sannin. However, Orochimaru's handicap is not being able to use his arms at all. But with Kabuto at his side, where Orochimaru would use his legs, his arms were in the form of the silver-haired medical ninja. Kabuto launched himself using his chakra to form his scalpels, but Tsunade proved why she was sometimes called the Megaton Woman, by punching him in the gut and sending him crashing into a nearby boulder. Then Orochimaru descended upon her, his neck stretched to impossible limits. Taunton squealed, as the group all followed the pig with the heightened senses. As they got close they could already hear the sounds of a fight going on. Jiraiya had been cured of his little problem, but he was sluggish. Shizen, Jiraiya, Kin, and Naruto soon arrived on the scene 15 minutes into the fight. They were some yards away from the battle. Naruto narrowed his eyes as he caught sight of the silver-haired boy standing next to the snake Sannin. Tsunade was frozen, covered in blood not her own. Kabuto, Naruto growled. The silver-haired boy smiled sweetly. My, Naruto-kun, Kabuto drawled, a surprise to see you here, and Kin as well. Kin glared. Naruto-kun saved my life, and I repaid him by serving his village now. Orochimaru scowled. Because of you, Naruto, my use of the Edo Tensei was foiled with only one Hokage resurrected. No matter, all of you will perish soon enough. Kabuto leapt next to his master, and bit his thumb before wiping it across his master's tattoo, before grabbing it and slamming it down. He also gathered chakra, thus completing the summon. Soon, towering over them all was a giant purple horn-like snake, Manda. Come on old hag! Naruto yelled, as she was still paralyzed by her fear of blood. Kabuto smiled sinisterly, as he leaps off Manda, ready to strike down Tsunade. However, Naruto go-tin his way, and surprised everyone by forming a Rasengan. Without even thinking, he shoved the technique into Kabuto, who was sent crashing into yet another boulder, this time bleeding a lot from the tearing wound in his stomach. He then realized what he just did. What is the meaning of this? Manda demanded the snake Sannin. Manda, I require your services. You can eat whoever gets in our way. Humph. Fine. Tsunade saw Naruto turn around, as he wiped some blood from her forehead. I win the bet, apparently. She smiled a bit, before she concentrated on her chakra. The crystal mark on her forehead glowed, healing her battle damage. Also it dissolved the blood that was spilt on her, leaving her no longer injured, or covered in the red liquid. Now there was the problem with Manda, as Tsunade summoned the boss of the slugs, while Jiraiya summoned Gamakichi trying to summon Bunta. Naruto turned to look at Kabuto, who was getting back up, running a glowing hand around his stomach to lessen the wound damage. Impressive, Naruto-kun, the fourth signature technique. Naruto glared at the traitor. He was itching to use the sword, but settled for Kagura, as he unfolds the metal battle fan. Take this. He swung, releasing several boomerang-shaped sickles of white energy. Kabuto leapt away, as the cutters sliced the ground and made gashes into the boulder. While the fight between Katsuyu and Manda commenced, and Naruto and Kin double-teamed against the ever-crafty Kabuto, Jiraiya was waiting for the antidote to fully purge the poison from his system till he could actually summon the Toad Boss. Kin was borrowing Naruto's Kaituken, which the giant shuriken has sliced a statue from the nearby castle wall in half. She rushed to reclaim it while Naruto released more cutters from the fan. Kabuto was still trying to heal himself, but he was forced to go defense. Kyukyos no Jutsu. A plume of smoke and the Toad Boss finally makes his appearance. Well, this is quite a reunion here, Gamabunta compliments, as he readied his sword. Katsuyu was next to the Toad, and both were facing off against Manda, who hissed at them. Toad and Slug sound good for dinner, Manda hissed, licking his scaly lips. You know, I always needed a new wallet. Snakeskin doesn't sound too bad right now. Well, you people are quite noisy, spoke the Twilight King, as he appeared hovering between the clan bosses of the Snake, the Toad, and the Slug. His appearance had effectively halted the battle between the Sannins, and the fight between Kabuto and the tag team of Naruto and Kin. You! Naruto yelled, dragging out the sword and shield he didn't use when fighting Kabuto. Kabuto was surprised when a shadow flew from Naruto's own, and emerged revealing some sort of imp creature wearing a strange metal headgear, with long fiery hair in a ponytail. The Twilight King chuckled sinisterly. Naruto, the marked hero, so, you survived your last encounter. Not surprised at all, you're becoming very interesting boy to Akatsuki. Being the boy who lived, after all, must be a pain, to be compared to the main character of Mahou no Hari. Naruto simply glared. Who is that? Katsuyu questioned. Oh, who am I? Well, I am the Twilight King. I am the one who ripped the Kyubi no Yuko's energies from Naruto down there. Now Orochimaru was interested. This was the person who made him force his hand for the invasion. True, he had learned from Kabuto that Naruto was the Jinchuriki of the Kitsune, but to meet the person who had ripped the energies of the fox from the host and somehow leaving that host alive, was something he suddenly felt threatened by. This Twilight King, as he calls himself, could very well be a possible enemy if he doesn't become an ally to him. Naruto, you may have survived a sand giant and an ice user, but I highly doubt no one can survive a dragon. He smiled, as he held a Komori dragon suspended by his magic. He lifted up another object, a black rose with glowing orange and red petals, and sunk it like a dagger into the neck of the dragon-like lizard, thus allowing it to hit the ground. You and Midna shall die. He laughed manically as he vanished in a wave of twilight, as a pulse of power ripples through the general area. The dragon was changing, as it began to grow larger. The scales of its tough skin grew thicker, changing into fish-styled scales along most of its body but the legs and underside. The rose began to bloom, as nature began to wrap itself around, mutating around the growing dragon. Wings made of fused flesh and botanicals emerged, as a ring of flower petals formed around the neck. The tip of the tail exploded, revealing that a tree had grown out from it, filled with tropical bulbs that had tips of a stinger barbed within the cocooned flesh. The toad, the slug, and the snake backed away a bit as the dragon grew to its desired height, matching Gamabunta's height. Thick roots crossed portions of the skin, forming as armor around the wing joints, its lower legs, and lining the underside of its jaw, forming a bulldog-like mouth with fanged roots jutting down. The eyes glow a fierce yellow and the pupils were a vivid green. Completing the dragon's transformation, a set of large horns in a curved formation sprouted from the sides of the head. It let out a loud roar, heard by the rest of the town nearby. Twilight Ryu, Koronabara. The dragon roared, launching several thick vines from its tail, and ensnaring the 3 summoned bosses. Manda hissed and spit with rage, as Gamabunta and Katsuyu tried to get free themselves. In the end, only Katsuyu escaped when she suddenly exploded into miniature slugs, slipped away, and reformed back again. Orochimaru was freeing Manda with the sword he expelled from his stomach, and Jiraiya using the Rasengan to buzzsaw the vines away. Gamabunta, when he had enough freedom of movement, swung his katana and sliced the rest of the vines that were trying to constrict him. The dragon roars, flapping its wings as each flap released a shower of sakura petals. It took high into the sky, as in the distance, was gathering storm clouds. Manda, pissed off, lunges with a cry, but the purple serpent was swatted away by its tail. It had also knocked Orochimaru clear off his serpent's head. Manda was suddenly speared by the tail, which from the tree tip was a thick wooden spike. The serpent was sent packing back to the summoning realm. Orochimaru swore, and decided to do it anyway. His mouth suddenly expanded, as if someone was stretching it far past human expectations. And then, Orochimaru crawled out from his shed skin, drenched in saliva and whatever unidentifiable liquid it was, as he managed to kick his old skin away. However it had left him weakened very much. The dragon however caught Orochimaru and from the tail, fired several stingers at him. Kabuto appeared, and Shunshin away, taking his master with him. Those two decided at that moment to cut their losses and escape. Orochimaru would leave that demonic dragon to deal with the rest of the Leaf Ninja, and the traitor kin as well. The dragon roared in pain, when Gamabunta managed to swing his blade, and slice the tree portion of the tail off. The thing disintegrated away in a flash of fire. However, brown roots began to form over the wound, sealing off the blood and clotting the damage. The dragon unleashes a fierce roar as it flaps its wings in a rapid motion. The gesture also generated a strong wind that was even pushing the giant toad and slug back, however sending those on the ground tumbling away faster, like tumbleweed in the desert. On the last fold, it released large petals that acted like Fuma shuriken. Katsuyu and Gamabunta dodged the attacks, but Naruto got struck by one, and was sent crashing into a boulder. Had it not been for the shield, the petal may have been embedded into Naruto's back. The shield however was showing a small gash across the surface. That had to hurt though. Suetun, Tepidama, gunshot. Gamabunta expelled a large sphere of water from his mouth, and it smashed, faltering the flight of the botanical/flesh-fused dragon. However, the water seemed to give it increased strength, as leaves began to grow along its underbelly. The dragon opened its mouth, and to their surprise, expelled an explosive ball of flames. Gamabunta countered with another gunshot which caused steam to blanket the battlefield. Shizen was helping Naruto up, as she applied what healing jutsu she knew, enough for Naruto to get back in action. "Kin, stay with Shizen-chan, okay? Don't get yourself killed, Naruto," she told him. Midna by now vanished into Naruto's shadow. He gave her his patented smile. "Don't worry about me, Kin-chan." He gave her a chaste kiss, and then leapt back, running across the field over to Gamabunta, sword and shield ready. She blushed a bit at the brief kiss, but when more sakura petals began to rain down, they had quickly left the battlefield to a safer area. Gamabunta felt someone hop onto his head. "Hey! Throw me up to that dragon. What the heck are you thinking? Something suicidal, now throw me." He replied. He leapt off, and Gamabunta caught him, and threw him high into the air. Naruto managed to land on the dragon, but all of a sudden, the grassy back of the dragon which acted as a coat of fur shifted, as several clumps formed, and emerged were wood warriors with spikes for hands. He cursed as the dragon flew in its pattern, now trying to shake Naruto off. Naruto of course was using chakra to stick to the surface, while his sword was slicing down the wood targets with ease. He grabbed 3 senbon, and attached 3 ninoms on them before launching the 3 needles. Explosions rained, destroying a cluster of them. When the last wood man was taken out, he turned to see something stuck in the neck. He wondered how a tree stump could grow there like some sort of hard pimple. He ran to it, dodging spike traps that would pop up to skewer him, and clung to the overgrown ivy. He began to climb up, feeling the dragon avoiding attacks from below if the hissing and screeching was anything to content. Once he climbed to the top, there in the center was a leaf bush, with some sort of object glowing ominously. He rushed it and stabbed his sword into it. Gamabunta, Katsuyu, Jiraiya, and Tsunade heard the painful screech the dragon released, as Naruto now repeatedly stabbed the identified target. The dragon lost its will to fly and was falling out of the sky. Naruto got bumped off when he tried for one more stab by a swatting leaf-covered tentacle, and a loud boom echoes across the battlefield, as Naruto was flying, and caught by Tsunade when he nearly crashed into one of Katsuyu's ice stalks. The dragon growled softly, before waking up, and leaping back. It roared at them, before spreading its rose wings, and took flight once again. They felt raindrops, and then the tell-sing of thunder roared across the skies. The sun had vanished and now storm clouds blanketed over the town. The few rain-drops soon increased, and before long, it began to pour. The dragon roars as lightning flashed across the cloudy gray skies, followed by the clap of thunder. "Yo, Bachan! Toss me over to Pervy Sage." Tsunade raised an eyebrow at her friend's nickname, but grabbed Naruto and threw him across the field with her strength, where he landed on Gamabunta. Once again, Gamabunta was ready to throw Naruto once he explained that the weak spot for the dragon was at the back of its neck. But the dragon roared as it flew down in a dive-bomb motion, and then rips past them. The wind shear that quickly followed blew the humans off the toad and slug, while the creatures themselves were blown back a couple of inches, in their perspective of course. Many trees in the vicinity were sent flying, snapped from their foundations, as nearby buildings suffered heavy wind damages. The dragon had taken flight high above again, and initiated a new attack. It expelled from its mouth hundreds of large seeds, which were no bigger than the statue of the Will of Fire back in Konoha. Because of the rain, it began to grow constricting piles of thorny tentacles that attacked the two animal summons. Katsuyu unleashed her acid attacks, and Gamabunta, tossing his cod pipe to the side, grappled with several of the vines with his blade. One Gamabunta wrestled himself free, he sheathed the blade. Jiraiya! Jiraiya already was on it, as he finished the last sign, announced the jutsu, and then unleashed a blast of fire from his mouth the same time Gamabunta expelled a blast of oil. A sea of fire washed the vines away, but the dragon flew to another part of the landscape, roaring at them. Naruto was picked up by Bunta, who launched him towards the dragon. He landed on its snout. It roars, causing Naruto to wince at the screech as it flapped its wings again, sending more of the leafy shuriken to bombard the land again. He used the short time limit it remained stationary to climb over the scaly mountain that was the head, and towards the neck area, slicing down any woodmen that got in his way. He was nearly shaken off, but he held on as it took flight to try and get rid of its passenger. "Katsuyu! More acid!" she ordered, and the slug took a deep breath, and unleashed bullets of her burning acid. The dragon was flying in at this time, so getting showered by the acid caused it to fly away, screaming in pain. Naruto was thankful the attacks were focused on the head and the underside of the fused dragon. As he made it, this time there was vines blocking his way, so he used Kagura to slice them away, before thrusting his blade into the weakness again. It screamed, as he repeatedly stabbed it. "Rasengan!" he yells, forming the technique once again. The sphere was slammed into it, ripping through. The dragon gave its death cry as it was flying sluggishly towards the castle. It was finished, as Naruto somersaults away, and landed on Gamabunta as the dragon flew off and then crashed against the castle walls, exploding. Naruto leapt to the ground, rolled to prevent injury, and ran off towards the destruction. Kin followed, and so did Tsunade, Shizen carrying Taunton, and Jiraiya. Gamabunta and Katsuyu dismissed themselves, seeing that there was no reason for them to remain. At the remains of the destruction, there on the ground was the same rose, however it was no longer covered by Twilight magic. What remained was what looked like the handle of the fabled weapon a jounin named Aoi stolen from Konoha. Around the base however was a ring of flower petals, which was made out of metal and was as red as blood, with a sharp red pointed gem topping this odd one-handed item. Naruto bends down and picks it up, before he looked at it. He swung it, and Jiraiya had to leap out of the way as a whip made of pinkish-red chakra lashed out. "Naruto, I think you may have acquired another item for use. I think I'll call this the chakra grapple." He channeled some chakra, and lashed out at the nearby gargoyle statue, and managed to grapple a lock around the head, before releasing the energy stream. Naruto obtains the chakra grapple. This is a chakra-based weapon, which Naruto can focus his chakra to form the energy whip to attack from a distance, or to grapple objects or targets. He smashes the mirror he used to watch the fight. "Damn that boy!" He closed his eyes, willing down the anger that threatened to explode from his body. No need for that, or else his cover may be blown. He heard a knock on his door, so he fixed his spiral orange mask back on again, and walked to the door, getting rid of the mirror. It was Deidara when he opens the door. Deidara would rather work with the mostly silent Sasori, and not the cheerful young man with the spiral orange mask. Let's go, Leader Sama wishes for us to scout again. Toby understands, he said cheerfully, as he skips out. Oh Kami, please kill me now, Deidara sighed, unaware that a red mark was now focused on his forehead. High above in the clouds, Kami was ready to pull the trigger on the laser-mounted sniper rifle, when the phone begins to ring. He releases his finger on the trigger and drops the gun to the cloudy floor as he heads to the phone, and answers the call. Hello? Hey, Karen. As they left, traveling down the path which would take them back to Konoha, Tsunade stopped Naruto, and gently took off her necklace. A promise is a promise. I hope you keep the people you care for safe. She then kissed Naruto's cheek, causing him to blush a bit, and Kin and Midna to giggle softly. However, the necklace slowly began to glow bright, and caused Tsunade to release it as a vivid aura emerged around it. At the same time, Naruto's sword began to react, as he pulls it out from its sheath on his back, and looked at the blade which it too was now under a white aura of its own. Kin, Shizun, Taunton, Jiraiya, and Midna watched as Naruto lifted the blade to the air as the aura that surrounded the necklace, more importantly the stone it held, shot out and engulfs the sword. After a few intense moments the necklace drops to the ground, and the aura that surrounded the blade faded. However, they could all tell that somehow, in some unknown and mysterious way, the Master Sword had gained a small increase in power and strength. Naruto bends down and picks up the fallen necklace. The stone still held its beautiful shine, as he now placed it around his neck. Naruto obtains Tsunade's necklace. This necklace apparently had the power to settle the yokai of demons. However, with this necklace, the Master Sword has reacted to it, and apparently absorbed its mystical energies. Just then, they heard someone yell out to them, "Heey!" forcing Midna to hide in Naruto's shadow. Hopping from tree to tree was a ninja. The ninja drops down, and stands to attention. Uzumaki-san? The weird ninja addresses Naruto. Yes? Good I found you. I am what you call a postman. A mail delivery guy, but ninjafied. Get it? Everyone blinks but the adults, having known about their existence. Anyway, I got a letter addressed to you, two in fact. The first is from an Inari from Nami no Kuni, and the second one is from a Higurashi Tanko from Konohagakure no Sato of Hai no Kuni. The postman pulls out a civilian envelope with his name written on the front. Naruto slowly accepts the letter, and the guy does some sort of military salute, but in a lazy manner, delivery complete. I got more mail to deliver, no time to dawdle. Wait a minute, what's the difference between a regular mail person and a ninja one? Well, you see mail has to be delivered of course for ninjas around the world. While the non-shinobi men and women have regular couriers and delivery people, for the shinobi variety, you have postman. We're treated as neutral shinobi by all hidden villages, though there are at times we must fight if we're encountered by the wrong crowds, if you catch my drift. He then takes to the trees and bounds out of sight. Well, talk about odd. The item that Naruto bought is that giant shuriken that we have seen in the anime of the series, the Kaituken, Phantom Blade, which is sealed in a carryable small summoning scroll. I don't know the names of the elements, and I think Hayaton means ice release. Kishimoto never did give an official name for Haku's bloodline control to create ice out of nothing, though with a mix of wind and water, though he does just tag Hayaton over it and moves on, and thus I gave it one. Besides, there are few others who have given Haku fanon names for his Kekai Genkai. I'm not the first after all. And I don't think it matters with who died before the invasion bit, all it matters is that the female member of the Oto Genin team survived. Plus, Midna stopped Naruto from killing Tsunade, thus revealing herself to the small group. The people that know of Midna's existence is Hinata, and now adding to that list is Kin, Tsunade, Shizun, and Jiraiya. I don't know whether or not to have the Uka tribe to still exist this far, and if they do, then Uku and Uka Jr. will not be around, but their descendants into their, race, or maybe late descendants of the two. Chapter 11. The village was up in arms over the return of Lady Tsunade. And after she had announced her acceptance as Godame, the council wanted to have a meeting with her, the few who wished to have something done with the Uzumaki boy, however she ignored them all as she had patients to treat at the hospital. Jiraiya disappeared, but not after giving Naruto the basic instructions to weaving a seal onto an item to increase capacity. What the hell? Naruto stared in awe at his apartment, which had been rebuilt, and with a second floor added. He and Kin walked into his house only to see Team 10, Team 8, Sakura, Kurenai, Guy, and Asuma in the refurbished living room. What happened to my house? Was the first words that came out of his mouth. We fixed it, Naruto-kun, said Hinata, blushing a bit. I don't know what it say. I mean, it's too much. I just thought I would always be living in a half-dump of an apartment. Hinata got up and hugged the boy. It was my idea, and I managed to persuade everyone else. You like it? He hugged her back fiercely, smiling brightly. I do. Arigato, Hinata-heim. All of you, arigato. She blushed even redder, as Tenten got up, and hugged the blonde as well. So, how was your little trip? Exciting enough. I ran into these two nuke Ninatachi and Kisame. I disappointed them because that blasted fox is gone now. Kurenai walked up to the boy. You weren't hurt, were you, Naruto? No. I held myself, though mostly defense. Kin looked a bit uncomfortable, as she stayed close to Naruto. She was still technically a nuke nin, even if she was wearing a Konoha headband. We did hear the announcement that Lady Tsunade would become our Hokage though, must have been easy, huh? Ino asks Naruto. Well, not at first, she did get under my skin, but I managed to persuade her to take the job offer by beating her in a bet. Wait, what kind of bet? Asuma asks. Naruto simply held his hand, and before the Jounin's eyes, formed a Rasengan. The other genin were surprised. Isn't that? Jiraiya taught me how to use it, and when we were fighting against Orochimaru and the traitor Kabuto. I saved Tsunade by shoving this jutsu into Kabuto's stomach. I bet her that if I could master this technique in just 3 days, she would come back and become our Hokage. I won. I mastered this in only 1 day, and basically out of desperation saving Tsunade. Naruto-kun, I'm going to, go to my room. Oh, sure Kin-chan, he replied softly, as the girl slipped from the living room. Naruto. Shikamaru spoke up, once the girl was out of earshot. What is she doing here anyway? I saved her, you see. I found this warehouse in the village which held 2 coffins inside of them. I heard one of them was thumping, so I thought that someone was playing a sick joke of burying someone alive. Turned out Kin was inside one of those coffins, with her energy being drained out through these paper seals. When she was healed enough, she told me that Orochimaru betrayed her, and was going to sacrifice her life for something. Kurenai sighed wearily. That is considered treason, you know, Naruto, she tells the boy. She's like me though, an orphan, no parents. She was also experimented on with the Mokuton or Isuseishi bloodlines, but released to be part to his ninja force when she showed no signs of developing the traits. I saved her life, and she trusted me. I trust her with my life, that she is not a spy for the Hebe team. Besides, Bachan knows of Kin, and she is going to talk to her once she gets settled in. Fine, we'll accept it for now, but she is going to be watched, you know, Naruto. I'll defend her from anyone who harms her, he said with a threatening tone, which made Asuma arc an eyebrow. And for some reason, he believed that boy will follow up on his threat. Oh yeah. Tanku, what about Ojaizen? Tenten spoke up, confused. Oh, our way back to Konoha, we got stopped by a postman. Wait, a postman? Asuma asks, you hardly see them around high that much. Naruto shrugged. Hey Tenten-chan, let's go see the old man, he said he's got more supplies of ninams. I'm almost out of them. Sure Naruto-kun, she said with a smile. When Naruto left to nab some more cash from his bedroom, he soon came back out, not bothering to disarm himself. As he left, Hinata growled, causing the guys to back away from the once shy Hyuga girl. Mendokus. I feel sorry for Naruto, Shikamaru muttered. Naruto spent a good deal buying more supplies. Midna was complimenting him earlier on his quick thinking of needle bombs. Tenten was surprised when Naruto bought another ninja pack, one for storing miscellaneous stuff. She sat down as Naruto was reading through a small scroll, before taking out a needle and some sewing threads. You really know how to sew, Naruto? Most of the time guys think sewing is a thing only women should do. Well, if most guys think that, they're stupid. He gets whacked across the back of his head by Tanku when the man heads to the back. Tenten laughed humorously, and Naruto smiled softly, as he followed the instructions of the scroll, and began threading the thread through the fabric, and also adding his own chakra to the needle and thread. The more chakra he uses, the bigger the space within a smaller one, much like a scroll with inked seals. Once he was finished, the threaded symbol on it reminded Midna of the Naruto sign. Naruto cuts his chakra once the thread was tied into the heavy-duty pack, and grabbed the scroll for his heavy blade, and places it in. Next, with Kagura which he had kept clipped to his belt, gets added in, then the scroll containing Kaituken, and then the scroll he recently purchased a few days ago holding the spinner. Finally, to Tenten's surprise, he pulls out the chakra grapple. Naruto-kun, what is that? I never have seen such a weapon before. Oh, well, that's because I just recently acquired it. Remember the run-in with Orochimaru and Kabuto I talked about back at my apartment? She nodded. They escaped, leaving us to deal with this large dragon the masked man summoned on us. Yes, the same guy who transformed Gaara into that demon form during the invasion. After a combined team effort, and mostly me taking it out with my sword, the dragon was killed, and this is what I got as a result, the chakra grapple. Tenten grabs Naruto by the arm. I want you to show me how that thing works. Sasuke was resting, still contemplating over what his brother would want with Naruto. It was eating at his mind, as he sat there resting after Lady Tsunade had arrived and helped heal him. He wondered what Naruto was up to. Well, right now, Naruto was with Epona, who was delivered just yesterday by Biggs, Wedge, Kotetsu, and Izumo. When it was discovered that they were not doing their job guarding the gate, he was also given a horse call which Epona would respond to. Tenten was satisfied with how the weapon worked, though a bit envious that it would work very well with Naruto due to his stores of chakra previously enlarged by the fox before its capture. Niji was apologizing to Hinata for the way that he acted, and which she had forgiven him, when trouble brewed. Niji-sama! A branch member yelled having just appeared. Hanabi-sama was just kidnapped. Everyone had gasped, before Naruto boarded Epona. Which way did they go? Answer him. Niji commanded when they didn't answer Naruto. Out the village gates. They were a bunch of thugs with arrows, spears, and swords, carrying a flag that held the Gata Shipping Incorporated symbol on it. Naruto's eyes narrowed, and he snapped the reins. Epona whinnied and began to gallop away. Niji cursed, telling Tenten to alert the Hokage of what happened before leaving. Hinata followed as well. As Naruto reached the gates, Epona neighed and galloped faster, as they just barely managed to dodge the various ninja collecting around the gates. They all watched as Naruto flew off into the distance. Hanabi moaned, having been tied up and stuck to a tall sturdy pole. The leader of this group of thieves were avid followers of Gato, but when he was killed, this man had taken control of the company, destroying it while keeping all the drugs and Ryo for himself and his buddies. Not to mention, this guy was Kimono-nin. I have the cash, the drugs, and now a sweet young girl. Oh, I hope she's tight, the sick man dreamily spoke. The other guys on their horses all laughed, not knowing that someone was chasing them. They had passed the tree lines, and were up to a large clearing with a few trees, and in the distance a lake. It was actually close to a large chasm, which recently there was a bridge built to connect both sides, large enough to fit 2 traveling carriages. An explosion scared them, and coming at them was a boy wearing a green tunic, sword in hand. The men all scattered as the leader started running for it. Naruto followed only for 2 thugs on either end to come at him, firing flaming arrows. Naruto blocked as best he could, and when they got close for their swords, he roared as he unleashed a spinning attack, sending all 4 men down and the horses to run off. And Naruto just hopped on his horse and galloped out of the village by himself? Tsunade questioned. Only an hour as Hokage, and already there was trouble. Now what? Kakashi is still recovering, so I want Madogai, Yuhi Kurenai, Mitarashi Enko, and Sarutobi Asuma to go after Naruto and help him before he gets himself killed. He's still technically a genin. The ninja nodded and left. Niji-san, since this is a Hyuga matter, whatever Hayashi wants to do or send is okay by me, got it? Go! Niji left the office. She sighed, leaning back into her chair. I need a drink. In the end, storming out the gates after Naruto was Enko, Asuma, Kurenai, Gai, Hyuga Ren, and Hyuga Araujo, pronounced Araujo. At the clearing, Naruto had already frightened them by taking out the few men who were trying to stop him, but now the Kimonin hated that this kid was fighting off his men, while still trying to catch up. He figured this brat was from the Leaf, trying to reclaim the Hyuga girl. Well, he wasn't going to get her back. He swore when he heard parts of his armor get slashed off, so he snapped the reins on his stolen horse to go faster, but Naruto was not letting him escape. More riders came up behind Naruto, firing of flaming arrows or lobbing lit black powder bombs. Naruto cursed as he calmed Epona, and got her to go faster. He turned around quick enough to charge them, and swung his sword, slicing the rider's neck and knocking his other partner down. With Kagura in the other hand, he generated a minor tornado that completely rocked the other's worlds, before turning back around and began chasing the Kimonin. There were only a few riders left, and of course that Kimonin, who Naruto saw carrying Hanabi tied to that pole he holds, mounted to his steed. 5 minutes into the affair, and the Jounin and 2 Hyuga Chunin had arrived, to see bodies of various thugs laid out on the ground, sporting injuries, kunai stuck in places, along with metal needles, and only a few were killed. There was one spot which indicated an explosion. The sounds of horses neighing alerted their attention and the cry from Naruto as he slashed at the Kimonunin, practically shredding what remained of his stolen armor. They were coming back their way, as Epona rushed faster, and Naruto yelled, unleashing his spinning attack. The man swore seeing the other ninja rushing to him and hightailed it towards the bridge. I'm going to kill that kid first. That's right, follow me you freaking prick. Naruto indeed chased after the man, as Hanabi was screaming out of fear over what was going on. Once Naruto made it to the bridge, the man had turned around, and lowered the pole that Hanabi was tied to. At the end was a large, flat, hand-saw blade. He kicked his horse, and charged Naruto. Naruto, feeling up to the challenge, charged in as well, sword at the ready. The other Leaf Nin watched this joust, as neither warrior gave in to fear. Naruto however with a sneak attack grabbed a Senbon, attached a bomb at it, and flung it when he got close enough. The explosion startled the animal, hurting the man as the heat burned at his face and neck. Naruto roared as he swung, and sliced the man across the chest, knocking him over the edge and down to the dark chasm below. Hanabi and the pole thankfully were dropped during the explosion, so, she was safe, as the other horse ran for it, frightened. Naruto pulled on the reins, stopping Epona as he got off and rushed to the fallen girl, seeing the other Jounin and Chunin rush to him. He had freed Hanabi, who had passed out from the ordeal again. He called Epona over and boarded the stallion as he held Hanabi close, sword put away. Naruto, what the hell were you thinking going after these thugs by yourself? Kurenai yelled at the boy. Well, I was thinking about saving this girl, was his reply, before he snapped at the reins, and at a steady stroll, headed back to the village. The 2 Hyugas immediately followed, while Kurenai and Enko stayed behind to take out the fleeing injured thieves. That left Guy and Asuma to follow Naruto back. At the village gates, practically half the Hyuga clan was waiting, along with various other ninjas when Tsunade spotted green in the distance coming up. It was Naruto, who was slowly riding up to the village gates, holding a now awake Hanabi, who stayed clung to him for safety. Naruto's friends ran up to him, so did Iruka when he had heard what Naruto did out of his act of selfish bravery. Naruto soon stopped, as Hayashi walked up to him. He got off Epona though Hanabi still stayed clung to him. Naruto, thank you for rescuing Hanabi, Hayashi said. Naruto simply nodded, though there was a hint of a smile on his lips. He helped Hanabi down to the floor. It's okay, you're safe, Hanabi. Arigato, Naruto-kun, she whispered, as she was led back to the clan house. Hayashi then bowed to Naruto shortly, and left, leaving behind the rookie 9+ team guy, and Iruka pulling on Naruto's ear for doing something rash. You gaki. Don't ever do something dangerous like chase after a bunch of thugs again, do you understand me? Tsunade yelled before grabbing Naruto into a hug, practically smothering him between her breasts. Kiba snickered at this scene. Tsunade-sama, you're suffocating him. Shizen yelled, and Naruto was dropped to the ground. Thank you Naruto-kun. Hinata said, hugging the boy from behind, thank you for saving Hanabi-nichan. It's okay Hinata-chan. What happened to the thugs Naruto? Either dead or dying. Naruto, having to kill? Well, Naruto was already used to death, and being the hero's descendant, he would have to deal with death a lot more often, that much Midna had told him. I defeated all of his men, before he goaded me to a joust on the bridge. I attached a Nino MB to one of my Senbon, threw it to startle his horse and also got a good deal of damage to his face. I came in, swung, and knocked him into the chasm below. I assume he's dead. He also, from what I saw earlier, was a nuke nin from Kyomo. Naruto was definitely going to cause some people to second-guess the boy, once word gets heard to gossipers of the village. Bachan, Smack. Don't call me that, Naruto, she said, a bit of a glare. Ignoring the pain, he continued speaking. Can I go to Nami, and claim that payment from Tazuna? Oh yes. I read about that one mission you and Team 7 took. Considering you have saved Hyuga Hanabi, I trust you to be fine on your own. Naruto nodded. Hi. Tsunade knew of Midna, and gotten a small backstory from the weird floating girl, so she dug her back straight. Uzumaki Naruto, I am charging you with the task of a solo C-rank mission. After your bravery of rescuing one Hyuga Hanabi from a bunch of thugs, which will mean a small increase of security, she glared at Biggs and Wedge, whose sweat dropped. You are to go to Nami no Kuni, and retrieve the payment for the C-turn A rank mission, and return to Konoha as fast as you can. Understood? Hi. This was a rare chance for a genin to be able to be trusted to go solo for a C-rank mission. Naruto however had changed a lot and Tsunade could trust the boy. She could always send word to Jiraiya, wherever the idiot was, and get him to accompany Naruto. Wait, can Naruto really be trusted to know where Nami is? Sakura questioned. Sakura-san, I trust Naruto. The Haya from Naruto, and Eppona's whinny as Naruto galloped towards the direction of Nami no Kuni, passing Asuma and Kurenai. The sun was setting when Naruto took at a calm pace. Midna was sitting with Naruto, in his lap, relaxing. Naruto was, unknown to them both, whistling the tune to Saria's song. Well, you seem to attract the pretty girls, huh, Naruto? He stopped whistling, and looked down to look at the girl. Must be my charm, I guess, he replies to the Twilight Princess. She grabbed her headset and packs it away into her Twily pocket, before turning around to face the blonde. What about me, am I attractive, Naruto? When he didn't respond, since he was stammering a bit, a blush forming, she leaned up to kiss him. She soon breaks the kiss and smiled, turning back around and lean against him. Naruto continued to ride Epona down the path that would take them to Nami, however he kept an arm around the chibi princess. He heard a caw in the distance, and then out of nowhere, large birds dived at them. Midna cursed as Naruto took out his shield to block the pecking from these birds. They looked like usual crows, but they were at monster proportions. He also did not like the way their eyes glowed red. When he got away from them, they came flying at him. He pulled his sword and swung, cutting down one crow and causing the other two to scatter before coming back at him. They were killed as well. They got off Epona and inspected the remains. Well, this is strange. It's his doing. I recognize this. This is Twilight magic, he must be bewitching some wildlife to become monsters. Naruto frowned, but he got back on Epona. Midna joined him and they decided to go at a faster pace. In the end of the travel, with Epona or by shinobi travel, it took Naruto about a week to arrive between Konoha to the bridge that spans across the sea to Nami. Again, it is nightfall when Naruto stopped at a monument. There, in bronze, was a statue of him when he first acquired the hero's clothes. He then takes a look at the hanging sign that is attached by very short twin chains from the delicate archway, the Great Naruto Bridge. He then takes a look at the monument that was displayed to the left of the bridge entrance. There were other, smaller, statue monuments of Kakashi and his teammates Sasuke and Sakura. Midna smirked at Naruto, finding this all so very heroic. Naruto was smiling as Midna vanished into his shadow, since they were going to be around other humans. Naruto boarded Epona and set off across the bridge, into the village of Nami. Found, watch at a pizza business pub in Kane no Kuni, Metal County, pronounced Kane, I believe, about 20 years ago. I forgot about it until recently. Call to identify, that's dumb, said Naruto, as he was riding down the empty streets on his way to Tazuna's place. How Naruto can ride Epona and read the newspaper he snagged, leaving behind 50 cents, is beyond anyone's idea. Naruto soon stops in front of a house, if it was Tazuna's place. The place seemed to have gotten repaired, as it actually looks more livable. He descends off his stallion, petting Epona as she snorts softly, before walking across the short boardwalk, to the door. Knock, knock, knock. Naruto waited, as Midna peers over his shoulder, in her shadowed form. The door soon opens, and standing there was Inari's mother, Tsunami. Naruto-kun. Naruto smiled, as Tsunami squealed and pulls the boy into a hug. Naruto! It's so good to see you. Nizan. Naruto is tackled by young Inari, and Naruto smiled, ruffling the boy's hair. Hey, I got your letter, so I came to visit. How'd you get here? Tazuna questioned, walking up and swinging an arm around Naruto. My new horse, Epona. She was actually a gift from the fire daimyo. Took me only 2 days to come here from Konoha. Wait, by yourself? Tazuna questioned, inviting Naruto into the house. Epona waited patiently outside. Yeah, 2 days ago I just saved a girl from a kidnapping situation, and when I received your letter a few days ago, I was given this C-rank solo mission to go retrieve the payment from our last mission. He looks at Tazuna, who chuckled softly, pulling out the envelope full of Ryo. Naruto obtains the A-rank payment from Tazuna the bridge builder. Well, you do look like a hero, Naruto, Tsunade said. We were just about to settle down for dinner. Would you like to join us? Of course, Tsunade. Naruto sat down with the small family, as he told them some things that have happened, excluding the whole business with the Twilight King or mentioning Midna. From the Chunin exams, how the village was nearly destroyed but how he had saved them all at the loss of the man he considered a grandfather. Up to finding the legendary Lady Tsunade to become the village's next Hokage. The birds sang in the morning, as Naruto opened his eyes. His sword and shield were set in the corner of the room he crashed in last night, and his hat was to his left. He yawned and got up, stretching, before doing a few routine stretches. He headed downstairs, carrying his things as he joined Tsunade for breakfast. Tazuna and Inari were still sleeping, and after he had breakfast, she gave him some fruit for the trip, and with everything packed, and cash in hand, he left the town. After a brief visit to pay respects to Zabuza and Haku's graves, he makes his trek back to Konoha. Elsewhere, Kakashi, leading Sasuke, Sakura, and temporary replacement Kin are involved in a mission that takes place in Chano Kuni. 20 grand on a bar, that is just amazing. Yup, and what's even more amazing is that in about 20 minutes, I'm going to piss off 20 grand. On what? The bolts? Naruto ignored the horrible joke on Kumo's sports team, as he continued past the group of guys by the open bar pub. What, is it funny? The others do not respond. The guy mutters incoherently and shoves his sake down his throat. As he left the small civilian village, he snaps at the reins, and Epona gallops faster. It was only a week, and already it seemed too quiet in the village. The only one still there was Hinata, who stayed in Naruto's house. Kiba was busy, and Shino, he was off collecting bugs. Everyone else was either on missions or had things to do for the Hokage. The last of the repairs have finally been made, and the walls have been strengthened. In her office, Tsunade had finished the last of the paperwork, when 3 ninja came in, dumped a workload, and quickly escaped. Damn it! She pulls out her sake, uncorks it, and takes a long swig before corking it, and returned to work. She looks at the first page, and burns it with a quick katan jutsu. It was yet another ploy to have Naruto be executed for releasing the Kyuubi nearly close to 3 months ago. Idiots, it was stolen, not released. She hated people who think that just because the demon is gone, thank freaking goodness in her mind, that the former jailer is the demon itself or had absorbed the demon's power. She only wished that she could find some way to punish them, but for now, she's stuck with the Shinobi Council sans Sakura's mother siding with her, and the Civilian Council, Sarutobi's 2 former teammates, and Danzu against her. The door is knocked on, and she tells the person to enter. Entering was Irika. Irika, what brings you here? Has Naruto returned yet? Not yet. Look, I know how worried you are of Naruto, but he'll be fine. I trust him after all. Irika nodded softly. Yes, but I am worried about Naruto, still. Even if he is no longer a Jinchuriki, since he does hold the Kubikiri Hocho, he would be a target by many Kiri ninja, and Nami borders with them take a couple miles of sea travel. And needless to say, a day before Naruto reached Otafukugai, he knew that he was being followed. Midna looked around when a creepy fog slowly began to form around the area, forcing Naruto to halt. Well, look at who we found, called a familiar voice, as emerging from the thick mist was a man wearing a dark cloak, and he also wore some sort of mask-like ornamental headset. Next to him was his partner and brother. Both were familiar to Naruto. It's you too. You're the Oni Brothers. Gozu, Meizu, the Oni Brothers. They were part of Zabuza's group who were captured after their defeat, but it became unknown as to what had happened to them after their defeat and capture. Zabuza before he turned over at the last minute thought they had either been captured, or have committed suicide with some pills. Apparently, they escaped and are still alive. So, the blonde brat grew up, all alone and in new clothes, Gozu taunts. We haven't forgotten you, or your little friends. Naruto leaps in a backward somersault off Epona, and sent her off to safety, as he drags out his sword and shield. We have been hearing rumors about how Zabuza died, and how he allowed you to take his sword. We don't buy that crap. Once we're done with you little ninja, we're going to take that sword of yours and whatever goodies you got on your bloodied corpse. Suetun, Mizurappa, violent water wave. The man, who had completed the last seal, unleashed a blast of water at Naruto, who roll-dodged to the right. The water smashed a few trees, making them creak under the pressure. Naruto lifted the shield to block the chain fired during the initial jutsu technique, while the other brother with the poison-tipped claws, the one who used the jutsu, rushed him. Naruto backed away, and swung, deflecting the sharp-clawed gauntlets, while keeping his defense up. He cursed as they were both Chunin, high Chunin level at least, or possibly Jounin. He kept blocking of their attacks until they regrouped. This gave Naruto enough time to sheath his sword and pull out the chakra grapple. Naruto heard buzzing in the air, before two bugs landed on their throats. Both began screaming when the bugs started devouring into their throats. He heard the faint laugh of the Twilight King, before the mist spreads around like twisters around the rising Oni brothers that he had just taken out. Soon the mist dispersed, and in place were two Twilight-enchanted humans. Their skin had changed to pure black, intermixed with pigments of white blotches. Whatever armor they wore, was now fused to them, plus they now sported armor that resembled Xant's armored form when Midna and Link had fought the man in Twilight Palace. Midna would never forget Xant's or that familiar armor these two now wear. Their eyes were now glowing yellow and their pupils were blood red. Both vanished in waves of twilight. Beware my new guardian's hero. Zugo and Zume. His laugh slowly faded away, sending chills up Naruto's back. The fog lifted up finally, and Naruto and Midna were all alone in that forest path. He pulls out the call that he had tied to his necklace Tsunade gave him, and called for Epona. 3 days later, Kotetsu and Izumo looked up from a boring day of guarding the gates. The time was close to 5 in the afternoon, when they saw someone trotting up to the gates on a horse. They recognized Naruto, as he was the only ninja who wore a tunic, even if it was green, and the only ninja who really did not look like a ninja, just a hero from some sort of fantasy fairy tale, which wasn't far off from the truth. They also noticed he was holding a 6-year-old girl in his lap. As Naruto reached the gates, the two immediately noticed that the boy looked depressed, so they simply alerted the ANBU while opening the gates. Naruto simply kept walking on into the village. Epona whinnied softly, and he pets her head, as he heads towards the Hokage Tower to make his delivery. At the Hokage Tower, in the meeting room of the council, everyone was backing away from an angry Tsunade. Danzo was on the ground, nose broken after the woman with fast and powerful reflexes sent the bolted chair she ripped off the floor crashing into the one-armed man. I don't know what gives you the damn right to order me around. As far as I know, the council serves me. Do you understand? Now shut up with your damn pitiful excuses about Uzumaki Naruto. He is a qualified genin who I trust with his own solo mission, or maybe it's because you still hold on to the fact that somehow he still retains the blasted kitsune. It has been known before the Sandame's death that an unknown masked man was the one who used a completely unknown jutsu to steal the Kyuubi right from Naruto's body, and vanish with that power. Naruto will return shortly from his mission, he will not be placed in the bingo book, and if any of you fuckers dare suggest anything about Naruto that I do not like, I'll simply kick you out of the village. Understood. A nervous cough broke the air, as all eyes but Danzo, who's still trying to cut the flow of blood from his busted nose, turned to see Nico. Uzumaki Naruto is waiting for you in your office, Lady Hokage, with a visitor, she reported. She calmed herself down, and turned her back to the council, leaving the room pushing the doors open, which both crashed to the ground. Nico quickly made haste and vanish, and Shikaku muttered his son's catchphrase. In her office, Naruto was sitting down in one of the few couches she brought up to the renovated room. I'm glad that you have returned, Naruto. Naruto took out the payment he received from Tazuna, and handed it to her. She filed it away. Well, congratulations on completing your first solo mission. Yeah, it's boosted from C to A. I ran into the Oni brothers, again. Tsunade looked at Naruto, as she now sat up straight. What happened? Returning back to Konoha, they ambushed me in fog, but I held my defense. I was going to make a counterattack, when they were transformed into real demons by Twilight King, and he took them away, warning me to beware his new subordinates. Tsunade made a note in her mind about the Oni brothers. She then turns to look at the girl. Who is the girl, Naruto? Her name is Hitomi, her family were killed by a bunch of thugs, and were about to rape her. He held Hitomi close as she continued sleeping. I saved her, wiped out the thugs, and buried her parents in makeshift graves. She didn't want to be alone, and since she's an orphan, I decided to take her with me. I couldn't leave her all alone. Tsunade groaned. Naruto, do you know how to take care of a child? You're just 13 years old yourself. I was an orphan most of my life, so I know how to tend to her needs. She's only 6, so she won't be much of a hassle. Please, I don't want her to be taken away, placed in a home where she is surrounded by strangers. She didn't even want me to leave and she's already grown on me. Probably because she's a blonde, Tsunade thought in a soft tone, as she looked at the long-haired blonde wearing the standard girl's kimono. Naruto, when he looked at Hitomi, was reminded of Haku, because the clothes she wore were similar to Haku's pale pink kimono. She just is a sun-kissed blonde instead of jet black. Though, the girl did look a bit pale. But, could you? Don't worry, I give her a complete checkup, she told the boy, immediately easing his worries. Growing up an orphan, Tsunade though knew that before the whole business with that Twilight King having ripped the Kyuubi's energy from Naruto, Naruto was always alone, and would do anything to protect people he cherished greatly. Naruto smiled softly, as Hitomi continued to sleep. Naruto lies down in his bed. Only an hour and it was discovered that Hitomi had an incurable illness, one that would ultimately claim her life. It just was not fair, to save someone so innocent and carefree, only to soon lose her to the Shinigami. Why? Naruto. Midna looked at the blonde, as tears began to shed again. So, it was decided that, despite her illness, Naruto had taken care of Hitomi, while also gathering attention from many girls his age or some years older. Hinata and Tenten helped Naruto take care of the 6-year-old girl, and so did Ino, who also got the guys to help after some placed threats. Team 7 was still out of the village, so they had no clue about what was happening, as they were still performing the mission in Cha. Hitomi grew to adore Naruto, and as a month had passed, she slowly began to grow weaker. However, she was still filled with that energy that brought smiles to people, clothes shopping with Tenten and Hinata, befriending Konohamaru, Moegi, and Udon, and even having the chance to warm Irika's heart, and on a rare chance, breaking through Anko's toughness and making her act all motherly-like, weird, eh? However, all good things must come to an end. One day, while Naruto had taken Hitomi to Ichiraku for a bowl of ramen, she had suddenly collapsed, going into an episode. Tsuchi closed his shop early, while he and Ayam were running after Naruto as he carried Hitomi to the hospital. Shizen was working her shift there, and soon Tsunade arrived. Hitomi was taken into the ER, and Naruto was left alone with Ayam and Tsuchi. Word spread, and all of Naruto's friends and the team senseis have arrived, waiting quietly, waiting for any sort of word. We cut to 3 hours later. Naruto was sitting next to Hitomi, who was in the hospital bed. Apparently, she was going to die. None of Naruto's friends behind him said anything. They stayed silent for his respect. Before the life support machines had flatlined, she said these words to Naruto with a warm heartbreaking smile. Aishiteru, Narutousen. It was such a heartbreaking scene, as Tsunade quietly placed her time of death, and then left. Naruto sat there, holding Hitomi's hand as silent tears escaped. Sometimes being a hero is not all sunshine and daisies. Sometimes, even heroes experience darkness. When Kin found out an hour when she returned with Team 7 from their mission, she had immediately gone to Naruto to comfort the depressed teenager. 3 days later, Naruto was the only person at the cemetery, sitting cross-legged in front of Hitomi's resting place. When she was laid to rest, Naruto bestowed upon her Uzumaki. And still, long after the funeral, he cried, "Rest in peace. Uzumaki Hitomi." Embraced by the Tenshi. Once the tears had run dry, Naruto slowly stood up and left. Chapter 12. Tenten, Hinata, and Kin were given a mission. It sounded odd, but they, Tenten and Hinata mostly, were ordered to go live with Naruto. They were still allowed to take missions with their other teams. For Kin, replace whoever cannot go or until she could be placed in another team, until Naruto was out of this funk he slipped into. It was just a D-rank mission, but it would be a long one. So, since they had added another story to Naruto's repair department, also built a stable for Epona to sleep in, plus did some decoration such as a small flower garden up front. Hinata and Tenten each had their own rooms to sleep in. Hayashi did not like this, but Tsunade's order was an order, plus it is a mission regardless. Tanku was in the same boat, since while one works a lot, and the other is sometimes a prick, both are fathers. Well, Tanku is Tenten's grandfather, and to protect the daughters from a boy who is going through puberty is one thing that must always be upheld. But Naruto was locked in his room. Even Midna was worried, and she tried to have talked sense into Naruto. Naruto's training seemed to have slackened, and to the shock of Tsuchi, Naruto did not want any of his ramen. He had awakened in the hospital 3 hours later one day that event happened. I wish Naruto-kun would come out, Hinata said. He saved a girl, who before she died called Naruto her father and sighed that she loved him. I would be sad as well if I went through that, said Tenten. The 3 girls were sitting in the living room, and Sakura and Ino was there as well. It was somewhat of a girls' hangout. It was 2 weeks since Hitomi had passed away, and Naruto had seemed to have just shut down completely. His usual cheerful smiles, the way he carries himself off as a hero, it all just disappeared under a sea of shadow, consumed by pain, anguish, and sadness. Tenten could remember the boy back before the secret was let known. The boy was always cheerful and hyper, and then, he matured, enough to become a friend, and then over the months, she began to feel something for him. And he barely eats. He's going to make himself go sick if this keeps on. I may not know what had happened, but I have a right mind to bash some sense into his head, Sakura exclaimed. I rather we not use hasty action, Tenten said, even if a good kick in the ass sound perfect. There was a knock on the door, and Tenten went to answer it. It was Niji. We have a mission, Tenten. She sighed. I'll be back soon guys. She then left with the Hyuga. Sakura and Ino looked at the clock and both got up. Gotta head home. Hope Naruto gets out of that funk. I'm even starting to miss his smile. Sakura agreed silently. Since Sasuke has been too busy training on his own, and Naruto was in this depression, she was all alone. The 2 girls left, and once the door closed Midna peeks from behind Kin. Good, they're gone. She flips over and sits next to Kin. That idiot won't listen to me, he's still holding that framed picture of himself and Hitomi to his chest. The 3 girls were silent. The next morning, Hinata went to feed Epona, while Kin prepared breakfast. Tenten was still on that mission with her team, and Midna was laying down in the couch, still getting used to this era's technology. She still remembered that secret meeting with Tsunade and Jiraiya. She never thought he would have still been around after all this time. The whole business with the Fox energies sealed inside the same scroll which imprisoned her, she thought would have remained safe, but then the king appeared and ripped it out of Naruto anyway. However, despite all of that, Naruto had changed, slowly becoming a hero, just like Link, but now his heroic light was starting to darken. And if nothing is done, that man will win whatever plot he is hatching. In Suna, Temari sighed softly. She still remembered the boy in the green tunic, his sun-kissed blonde hair, and those warm cerulean blue eyes. Naruto had brought back her brother, had helped Gaara accept love again, real love, love from family, love from herself and Kankuro. If it wasn't for Naruto-kun, she may have lost Gaara forever, and because of it, she was eternally grateful for him. Thinking of the boy again, she turned around, and saw Kankuro, who sat down on the couch, fiddling with another puppet construction. Yes, it's been a while, since we all found out that Orochimaru hoodwinked us into a position that would have left us and the village dead. You're 2 years his senior, you know. I believe it's called Shotokan. He dodged the small metal fan she threw at him. Quiet, you pervert. Kankuro shifted a bit, and turned a bit to the left to hide the orange book that was in one of his shirt pockets. If only I could go and see Naruto-kun, Kankuro growled. Even if he was thankful that Naruto had changed Gaara for the better, he still did not like to see anyone try and take advantage of his sister. And you can, came Gaara's voice, spooking the 2, Naruto's in trouble. Apparently, his adopted daughter died from a heart cancer, and now he's slipped into a depression. It's a mission, so pack your things. You'll be staying in Konoha for a while. But, aren't we still in negotiations for a new treaty? We're still at odds, but not in war only because of a common enemy. She and Kankuro were surprised at this adopted daughter thing involving Uzumaki Naruto. That is why you're the new advisor between Suna and Konoha. It was selected by the Suna Council, and Konoha agreed. It was my first act as the acting Godame Kazekage. The 2 stared at Gaara. It was not a secret that Gaara had slowly changed the views of the village, except those hardened villagers who still saw him as a demon, but this was a shock. =0 = 0 =. The Kyomonin looked around, opening his eyes. He thought he was dead. He was sure of it. No one could survive a drop into a deep black pit of a chasm. Ah, about time you have awakened. How would you like to get revenge, HM? Who said that? Where are you? All he saw was a red eye. Sharingan, I am someone who can help you get revenge. All you have to do is swear loyalty to me, and I can make you stronger. You can get revenge on the one who killed you. Uzumaki Naruto, the hero. What if I don't? Then I leave your soul behind by killing you again after resurrecting you with a bit of my energy. I accept. A grim, dark smile forms, as the surge of Twilight magic that he releases through his eye seen through the socket of the spiral mask rips through the once dead Kyomonin. Pain screams greet his ears, as it performs what he wills. It soon changes him to more fit her personality and his elemental affinity. Once the transformation was complete, he was clad in ancient knight-like armor of a Victorian to shogun-like level. The entire body but the face is covered in a chainmail bodysuit that is as black as the night. Over the chainmail suit is several heavy pieces of silver armor. The gauntlets around the shoulders have 3 bronze spikes that jut out, shaped like fanged bolts. The helmet is of heavy Victorian design, but with a mane that curves from the top down to the neck was a gold lightning bolt. The armored gauntlet on the right arm has 3 bolt-shaped claws that extend out over the black-gloved hand. Attached to the left arm was a large round shield. The shield itself is gray with a yellow border, and the bolt mark emblazoning the surface is blue. An armored skirt branches out around, with a shogun-styled armor lining the lower front to the knees and around the sides, black and lined with crimson. The rest of the armor is heavy fortified, and colored with hints of bronze and red among the main silver. Attached to the belt on the left is a large gold zanbato, but the blade is shaped like a large slender lightning bolt. The cape that it wears, attached to the shoulder gauntlets by gold spikes, and a black chain, is a royal purple along the outside, but within the cape is a dark green. In hindsight, he had become a Darknut, a knight which specializes in Raitun Kenjutsu. Before, he was known as Asamura Hideaki, A-rank Nukenin from Kimogakure. He was now reborn. Welcome to the fold. Darknut Kyumo. Behind the vented visor that has 3 short spikes lining the top, yellow eyes peer through. =0 = 0 =. Naruto woke up in the morning, feeling the same. After he'd taken care of his morning routine, he got dressed in civilian clothing. He forgoes to attach his weapons, or wear his green hat. =0 = 0 =. Naruto was quiet. There was a bit of a morning fog, but that's what you expect since the time is 6:30 in the morning. He headed towards the cemetery. He passed by Ichiraka Ramen, which was just opening up. He never noticed the sad look he got from Ayam as he followed his feet to the entrance to the cemetery. Upon arriving, he looked at the closed gate. The Konoha cemetery was once an open cemetery, but since Tsunade became Hokage, she had the entire lot fenced off. The undertaker who lives nearby would open the gates at 8 in the morning, and close the gates at 11 during the night. He saw an overgrown tree, which some of its branches grew over the 7-foot-tall iron-grated fence. He runs and jumps, and then he formed a Kage Bunshin and did a double jump to reach the branch. The clone when Naruto used it as a foothold poofed away. He swings up onto the branch, and carefully walks over the fencing, before making it to the tree itself, and drops down. He then makes his way towards Hitomi's resting place, passing the memorial stone where countless names of ninja were carved into the obelisk. The time was now 6:40. Hitomi, it has been a week, and still this pain will not go away. I wish you didn't die. I wish I could have become the Otusan you grew to love. He sits down before her gravestone, and stares at the smooth marble. He closed his eyes, as tears escaped. Look at me. I'm only 13 years old, and already I have seen so much stuff as a ninja, and then I have been dragged into a conflict that has been going on for centuries. I've matured much faster than anyone. Hitomi, she had matured me much sooner, my precious Hitomi-chan. He wiped the tears away, and leans close to the stone, and kisses the top gently. He stands up, and bidding a silent goodbye, he left her stone marker, and begins to leave. Normally, sunlight would be here, but today was a particularly cloudy day. Weather affects the world just as much as the rest of the planet, despite the name of the country or whatever. However, just as he is about to hide, he felt a pain flood his body, which had knocked him out cold. He was unaware that he was struck by a fire bolt. =0 =0. Inside the castle, Naruto was placed in chains, left dangling like a butcher hanging a raw slab of beef. The Darknut smiled as his master's magic was warping the castle to his desires. Monsters from shadows began to emerge, attacking and chasing out the humans from the town that surrounds the castle itself. The sight and feel of an ominous energy coming from the distance of Tanazaku was causing a lot of trouble. But if that wasn't the worst of it all, Naruto was discovered missing. Which is why she assembled Teams 7, 8, 9, and 10, to not only locate Naruto, but also investigate the burst of chakra that emerged from the direction of Tanazaku. Tagging alongside was the advisor Suna had sent, Sabaka no Temari. Upon arriving to Tanazaku, it was immediately noticed how dark it felt in the atmosphere. It didn't help that there were unnatural storm clouds constantly swirling around the perimeter of the castle, which was, somehow, changed to resemble one of danger, something that resembled a castle which contains unspeakable evil lurking within its corridors. They made it to the previous site of the dragon that Naruto faced off against, not that they know of course, and got a good view of the changed castle. So, what the heck are we going to do here? Excuse me, but you're shinobi, right? An old man walked up to them. Before peering back at the warped castle, I saw a young lad get dragged into that castle before all of this hocus-pocus stuff begun, driving the townspeople to safer grounds away from that castle and the surrounding areas. A young lad? Hinata questioned, hoping it was not who she thought it was. Yes, all I can remember is that he had spiky blonde hair, which looks like it's been kissed by the sun itself. I do hope you're going to save him, and stop whoever is doing this. I have been around since the Second Great Shinobi War, and even I can tell this is not normal, nor has it been done by the use of chakra energies, HM. He took a drag from his corncob pipe, and slowly exhales the rich tobacco smoke, away from them of course. Naruto. I guess this also constitutes as a search and rescue mission. Oh yeah, the old man spoke up having remembered something, you should be careful. My hip is somewhat broken after we got chased out. They looked like real demons, you wouldn't believe how easily they enforced brute strength. I think one of them had some sort of key on itself. The castle front gate is always locked, even before all this begun. If you do plan on going in, proceed caution on your lives. HM, you seem to know a bit, old-timer. Yes, well, you young whippersnapper did beat us IWA during the war. Of course, back then, all I ever wanted was to provide for my wife and my children, until my kids were taken away by that Tsuchikage to be used in the war, and my wife had passed from an illness. Me, I was just a low-life civilian who couldn't take the war and left when I had lost my entire family in less than a week. Puff, drag, and he walks off using a gnarled cane to move. That was a bit of a surprise to Kakashi, and the adults who did fight in that war, or had experience in it. =0 As the old man said, there were demons patrolling the outside area, and Kakashi knew that there would be more within. The main gate of the castle was indeed locked, barred with a large iron fence with sharp spikes on top. There were a flock of crows that flew around portions of the castle. One crow came and attacked them before it was killed. Turned out they were under some sort of control, which accounted for the glowing red eyes. Of course, the death of one crow somehow attracted the rest, and Kakashi had to use a bit of his own chakra pull to unleash the largest Katan Jutsu to fry them. Bad news, for the flash of light attracted several of the goblin-looking demons, armed with claymores, thick wood hammers with a blunt stone axe head, and from the towers, 2 archers. Flamelit arrows rained down on them 2 at a time, but the Jounin were able to fight back. The genin fought as well, Sasuke finding these things worthy to test his strength and his powers. In his overzealous attempt of taking out a small squadron of bokoblins left him exposed in the back, and a blunt clubbing to the back of the head forced Kakashi to rescue Sasuke, skewering them with the Raikiri. Soon they were all taken out, and they did sport injuries. They were somewhat dim-witted, but they were like a pack of rabid dogs enhanced with brute strength when swarming their enemies. Sasuke suffered from blunt force trauma, and would be out for the rest of the mission. Hinata, however, since Naruto had been taken away, and she suspected that this Twilight King, that Midna informed her, being one of the holders of the Triforce, grabbed the key one of the guardians left behind from its death and rushed off, ignoring Kurenai's order to stop. Upon reaching the gates, the iron unlocked, and the doors opened. She screamed as air was drawn in, and she was sucked into the castle before the doors sealed shut, and flashed a sinister green before resuming normal color. =0 =0 equals. The room was like a court. However, all doors were sealed. Hinata, however, spotted in the distance Naruto hanging over a bed of kunai, tied to thick black chains. Naruto-kun. She ran, only to jump back when a bolt of lightning nearly struck her. The sound of something falling with a screech caused her to look at the dew behind her. It was now covered by an iron fence, and glowing in an odd pattern of red lines. In a bolt of black lightning, an armored figure emerged. His yellow eyes gazed through the visor, and his unseen lips curled into a smug grin. So, the only person to take the bait was the reincarnated princess of Hyrule? How amusing. Who are you? Me. I'm Kyumo Darknut, and I serve Leader Sama. You know him as the Twilight King. Hinata's shadow twisted. Before emerging was Midna. Hinata, be careful, Darknuts are very strong night warriors, they fight dirty, and have impressive defense. She was frightened a bit, but her resolve to rescue Naruto was keeping her from freaking out. Midna was glaring at the Darknut, who just stared back. Well, the Twilight Princess, or former princess, I should say. Do you miss your home? A dark laugh escapes him. Too bad. You bastard. She yelled. Do you remember how it all began, Midna? I am sure that you do remember. Master told me everything, how the 9 demons began to ravage the land of Hyrule, warping the planet into new landscapes, leaving behind death and destruction, and how their powers combined was enough to even rip through the fabrics of time and space, and make a large connection between the world of light and the world of shadow. His smile was still unseen by both females. When you finally found out the cause, you left the world of shadow, but was only able to survive only because both worlds were intermixing energies to a small extent. You saw Link die. Midna flinched. He tried to destroy one of the demons, only to end up dead, and which also shattered the Master Sword in the process, leaving the fabled blade in 2 separate halves. Not only did Link die, but so did his lovely wife Ilia. In your rage you went after the demon that killed the man that you loved, only to end up getting attacked in the confusion, and thus, leaving you sealed that was left forgotten as the world after the demon's genocide of the planet began to change. Hyrule ceased to exist, and my king hid himself in this world as the rip seemed together, and the world of light forgot about the history of Hyrule, the Triforce, magic, and everything in between. Though, Master never did expect that Link's children survived, and that only a few surviving Hylians soon began to die out, though their blood throughout the ages is passed through the centuries, however diluted it is. Which now begs the question, who is of Hylian descent in Naruto's family tree? And Naruto-kun was an orphan, he never knew who his parents were. Darknut raised an unseen eyebrow. Humph. That is a mystery we'll never know, though, I will find out one way or another. As for you, princess, he sneered, you on the other hand, wear the same necklace that was once worn by Princess Zelda centuries ago. And you are also the holder of a Triforce piece, the Force of Wisdom. This necklace had been in my family for years, and for as long as I can remember, it belonged to Kazan before she passed away. Someone in your clan was of Hylian descent, it's the only way to explain you holding a Triforce piece, doesn't matter anyway, because it's perfect anyway for me. You are the only one here, and I made sure my magic would keep those fools outside unable to assist you, other than the cursed little princess beside you. Midna snarled in hate, but Kyumo Darknut kept his weapon sheathed. Come at me little girl, he said haughtily. Hinata now activated her Byakugan. A surge of electricity flew down his right arm, before he punches the air, sending a bolt of lightning at her. She had immediately sidestepped the attack. How am I going to stop this, freak? I'm not as powerful as Naruto-kun is. I'm here Hinata. Midna says calming her, now, use what techniques you do know of, and also find a weapon you can use from one of those old statues. Hinata saw one statue that Midna spoke of, and rushed to it, nabbing the short iron sword from its metal-gloved hands, before a lightning bolt destroyed it, almost hitting her. Darknut slowly walked towards her with an aura of intimidation surrounding him, but Hinata's strive to save Naruto was granting her own type of courage to rush through. Hinata's high, Hinata's fire. A surge of power rushed through her, before she swung out with the sword, unleashing a blast of fire that topped Kyumo Darknut. She then sprinted toward Shim, and stabbed him in the right shoulder with the blade's edge pointing to the ceiling. She leapt into the air, ripping through chainmail and flesh and bone, and used a kawarimi with a statue, which now showers him in its falling pieces. Before Darknut could think about pumping enough voltage to explode her heart, he cried out as he was attacked from behind. Midna had managed to save Naruto, and since she had carried another iron sword, one that was of the length of the Master Sword, began to attack Darknut, who blocked as best he could with his armored defense. That last attack was sneaky, and he never expected it at all. Darknut backed away, as the injury that the girl suddenly unleashed was agitating him. He could only fight on a handicapped level. Then finally, someone intervened. Enough! Naruto and Hinata stepped back. The door opened, and the wooden gate plus iron fencing came crashing down from a toad in yellow and white wearing red armor as the Jounin rushed in, following Jiraiya and Gameruto. In a swirl of bright-colored lights, emerged the king. He looked at them, his one-seen red eye behind the slit of his pumpkin-colored mask. However, this was a hologram of the king. So, you rescued the boy. I certainly never expected of you, little girl, to damage one of my men. And you, Midna, always the girl who needs someone to do all of your work. Shadows pooled, before Midna appeared, surprising those who have never met her before. You bastard, you cursed me into this form again. She shouted in her native tongue. Well, I had to, it would be too troublesome if you remained in your true form, one of such beauty and power. The king chuckled rather darkly. Why, I can just see them now, Midna. Can you? I know you do. You can see the phantom image of Princess Zelda and Link in both of them, within the Hyuga girl and the Uzumaki child. After all, they hold the prices of the Triforce, while I hold. He lifted his left hand, and the third piece emerges, the Triforce of Power. The three gasped, as Twilight King laughed in a haunting tone. Surprised, aren't you? Well, it should surprise you. After all, you did kill my father. Who? Midna demanded. Zant! He yelled, with the powers of our ancestors, you vaporized my father in his moment of weakness. That is why. I am now king, that is why I done away with you. After I had taken you out, I soon became king in your self-exile from the palace of Twilight. However the world you know is now under my control, though I too became weakened by the atmosphere of the world of light, and I sealed myself away to rest, not knowing that soon the world succumbed to a moment of peace, and were allowed to rebuild once again, and transformed into the world we now know of today. When I had finally awakened, I had natural immunity to exist in this world. And my survival also led me to a man named Madara. Uchiha Madara. The others were definitely surprised by this revelation of information. My body was too weak still, though I can survive in this realm, so I needed a new body, and Madara was the perfect choice. After his battle with the Shodai left him in a state of injury, I swooped in once the Shodai returned to your village, killed him, and destroyed half of his body, fusing it with my own. I am Lansing and Madara, though I rather go by my original name. All I got from him is my new eye that now glares at you, what is known as the Sharingan. The slit grows wider, revealing the three spinning tomo. However, my magic altered it to an extent that its abilities have been rendered completely useless to me. Doesn't matter though, because I was still able to complete my other plans. The demons still existed in the world, but now only a few have been sealed away into other humans, and then there is this group who call themselves the Red Dawn or something along that line, finding these demons, and extracting them, which would also kill the jailer, though that didn't happen to you, huh? Lansing now stared at Naruto, sneering slightly. When I arrived, and beaten the Akatsuki by stealing the Kyuubi from your body. You are also the only former Jinchuriki to have survived death, thus now labeling you the boy who lived. You are probably wondering what I am up to, HM? I would tell you, but then again, why ruin the surprise? All you have to know is that history will repeat itself. Soon this world shall experience the army of darkness once again, and you, my hero, will die by my hand, along with the princess, and Midna as well. A chuckle escaped his lips, as the slit returned to normal. Until we meet again, hero, princess. The hologram vanished, and Darknut vanished in a swirl of twilight, taken away by Lansing. The magic that warped the castle faded away, and all dark creatures were vanishing as well. Animal life under its control escaped hold and vanished into forests or flew away. The castle itself returned to its state of slight ruins. Naruto, are you okay? Midna questions the boy, speaking in the language they understood clearly. Yes, I am. I will be now. Hitomi told me to move on, made me promise her that I would not wilt my life away. Naruto turned to Hinata, who still held the weapon in her hand, and held her close. Arigato, my Heim. She smiled softly. Midna floated a bit away, before she generated a portal in the floor. Well, I only have enough room to warp 2 people. I'll take you back to Konoha, said Midna. The two nod. Wait a minute, Kakashi interrupted, just who, or what, are you? I'm Midna, the Twilight Princess. This is just a cursed form done to me by that false king, Lansing, centuries ago. And Naruto, and Hinata, are going to help me break this curse so I can return to my true form, my beautiful human form. Naruto and Hinata stepped onto the portal, and she vanished in a swirl of twilight, and so did Naruto and Hinata. The portal vanished once they were gone. A cursed princess bound to a monster form? Jiraiya questioned aloud. In his mind, he was getting some ideas for a new Ika book. Though why are Naruto and Hinata involved in all of this? I have seen that man before, back when I had taken Naruto and Kin to search for Tsunade, just never thought he would be that powerful. Well, Naruto is fine it seems, so this mission is considered finished. We should head back to the village as quickly as we can. The other genin followed their senseis and Sannin Jiraiya, but those who thought they knew Naruto and Hinata, were now just confused over all of this. Kin was worried for a different reason, because she didn't wish to lose Naruto. As Shikamaru would say in this situation, Mendokus. That's it for part 3. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.